Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Radiant Black podcast. It's been a while since we've had the last episodes, and boy, are we happy to be back. This is a show about Radiant Black and the Massiveverse. Radiant Black created by Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Costa. I'm your host, Bash, and I'm joined today by my friends and my fellow hosts, Ali, Charlie, and Radiant Matt. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great. Happy Canada Day. I know that was, I think, yesterday for you guys, so I hope you guys have fun. But I'm excited to be back. We got a banger, couple of issues to get through. So how are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great as well. Like you said, I don't even know how long it's been at this point, but it's been a while. Rogue Sun Infernal has been keeping us busy, but yeah, this is the big event right here that's been going on. Can't wait for it to be back. I'm just curious how Matt got that Marshall seal of approval marked safe, because that's something I'm gunning for right now, because that's all I'm hoping for, because I'm a little scared of that guy right now. But yeah, can't wait to get into that issue. And how are you doing, Matt?
He's got a bigger fish to fry right now, I think. But Jesus, what an issue! Yeah, things are going good. Yesterday was Canada Day. Bash and I are dealing with a water. We have to boil our water right now. There's a bit of a hiccup.
What?
With
Water
us?
advisories.
Yeah, since yesterday. So
Okay.
luckily my girlfriend lives in Dartmouth, which doesn't have that issue, so that's where I'm posting up for the week, for a couple days at least. But but no, nothing could stop me from talking about this. This was wild stuff. I don't want to bury the lead. I'm excited to talk to you guys about it, because we got like all hands on deck. We got a fucking banger to talk about. So yeah, Bash, how are you doing?
Good, yeah, and just I pulled up the information for you here. So July 3rd is the day the issue comes out, which is tomorrow. We're recording this a day in advance. Thank you so much to Kyle Higgins and Team Black Market Narrative for sending us a PDF in advance so that we could check out the issue and review it, and then have our review out on the day of release, nice and early. But the last issue was July 3rd is tomorrow, right? The 29.5. The last one was February 28th, so it was 3 months ago.
Yeah,
Hasn't
I'm
been that long.
Yeah, I'm glad
It started
for
like a
that.
year
It was
ago.
worth the wait. It was worth the wait. I'll say that.
Yes.
much.
Oh, definitely,
honestly,
definitely.
yeah.
This is easily the most excited I've been in the Massiveverse probably since like the first Supermassive.
Yeah.
Hype's
There's a
there
lot
for sure.
to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And but yeah, again, yeah, thanks for the early copy. It was also super nice, kind of process everything for a couple of days, and then come on and talk, because yeah, it's a lot. Emotions high, everything's high, stakes are high. Yeah, crazy issue. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so before we dive in, we'll just let everybody know, please, if you haven't read the issue yet, make sure you read the issue, because this is a spoiler podcast, because we're going to go in depth and analyze the issue and talk about everything that happened. So if you haven't read Radiant Black 29 and 29.5, now's your chance to pause, leave, and come back later after you've read it, because boy, there's so much to talk about. Anyway, I'll share my screen here.
Just to add something real quick. If the order that you read them in, as in like 29, cover A first, cover B first, if it didn't matter before, it definitely matters now. Like you do have to read it, follow the reading order.
Yep. And you have to. I feel like if you read Supermassive without reading this, there are parts that won't make sense.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you do.
No spoilers, because we had a chance to read Supermassive as well, and we have to be careful. And we're gonna try to obviously. We're gonna not spoil anything, because we're good boys.
Yeah.
But that was just on final order cutoff yesterday, so hopefully everyone pre-ordered a copy. But I will say they did say that this takes place, like Supermassive 2024 takes place between, like basically the intermission between this and 30 and 30.5. So which is true.
Yeah.
So make sure you read these before you read Supermassive.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, let's get into it. Did you say
There's
the
an awesome
creative
half
team?
cover? Yeah, here's the creative team. We have. The title of this issue is The Final Trial. We've got writers Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark, the dream team from, you've done them from Deep Cuts, from Ordinary Gods, which, by the way, Deep Cuts, congratulations, got an Eisner nominations. You love to see it. Such a great book. I highly, 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 highly recommend it.
Awesome.
Penciler Eduardo Ferragata, who I think this is, like, Eduardo is amazing. I think he's super, super underrated, honestly, for how good he is and his ability to tell a story. It's not just like he's not just good at drawing, but he knows how to pick the panels and the angles and the compositions that give you the most out of the story. He really knows.
Master of visual storytelling.
There's multiple moments like that. Multiple moments like that, for sure. 100%.
This issue though is like, I think Eduardo is like flexing, because there's so many good moments in this issue, and I think this issue in particular is a really interesting issue to see the colorist flex as well, because there's a lot of amazing coloring, and without spoiling anything, we'll get into that later. But we've got colorists, 2 colorists for this issue. 2. Wow. Raul Angelo and Rod Fernandez, who I think for 29.5 it's just Rod, but don't quote me on that. And if it is, there's a page in 29.5 that is it's iconic, I swear to God. Or is it in this issue? I don't remember, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
29.5.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we have
reminded me a lot of Bill and Ted's Adventures. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
To that. Like, it's like a scene straight from that. But, yeah.
That means we have someone else doing Existence, right? We rarely get Existence colored by anyone that isn't Igor, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so we get like little snippets of it near the end of the issue. So I just thought that's interesting.
I didn't even realize like it was so well colored. I didn't even realize it wasn't Igor. But letter Rebecca Carey, and editor and designer Michael the Legend Basuto, and then special thanks to Ryan Sidoti, one of the hosts and a friend of the show, one of the hosts of the Invincible podcast. So make sure to check that out if you're a fan of Invincible. They also started doing like everything else kind of shows, and really good time.
Yeah, they're great crew. Ryan's been really helpful doing a ton of stuff behind the scenes this last like year or so at the Massiveverse, if not more.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, charge your radiance, or let your radiance charge you, because we're gonna. Oh God. Okay, let's do it. So page 1.
We got some major lore. Major lore coming up.
Oh my God, there's a lot to talk about. Like truly, this you've seen these pages. Everyone who's seen the preview pages, these were there. So this picks up right from the end of last issue, 28.5. You know, when 28.5, when Premier is showing up. Well, 28 in this case, because he's showing up to Marshall's timeline.
Yeah.
And
Chicago's in rubble.
Oh yeah, destroyed. We passed. Excuse me. We did pass the 3rd test though. So or whatever the last test was. Passed that test. Okay. So
248,000 casualties. It says 248,275 is what he says when he's hovering down the Premier.
Which is kind of weird, because I don't know about you guys, but like to me, I took it as Marshall completely lost that last challenge. Like just the way it happened, what happened to him. Like he like the way Nathan went about it, he definitely completely submerged the black hole, but Marshall went a different way and made a whole lot more destruction. So I thought it was super cool how kind of the opposite happens, where Marshall actually passes it somehow, which I don't know. I don't.
A lot of it's kind of bullshit, though, right? Like, I think it's whatever. Well, I want someone to be the vessel or whatever. They just want to like break someone and kind of use them and see how they react. Yeah.
Well, I think we, as well as Marshall and Nathan, were kind of assuming what the passing grade for this test is, right? We don't know. We know what the test is, but we don't know how to pass it necessarily.
We don't know the rubric. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that stems to this new way, the new way, like the new ideal of the robots, how they're all about truth. They're all about telling you what it is and all about truth and stuff. So I'm curious if it stems from there. But yeah, man, this was a devastating moment for Marshall here.
Also,
not looking too well.
Since Nathan's death.
Yeah,
since Nathan's death, this is the most I've wanted to do a reread, because this rewrites everything we know about the series.
Yeah,
like we'll talk about.
It gives you a lot of time between each issue as well. Like, I mean, one of the good things is that you have time to like reread everything. But yeah, I mean, the first few pages, right? And again, we're not going to show you every page because we want people to buy the book, but we'll show the pictures here and there. We have a lot of pages we have about half the issue from both issues, so. We'll just show you guys some pages because we are spoiling some of the stuff, and we want to talk about it through visual context as well. And in this case, yeah, Marshall's in denial, right? Like he's not like. There's so much that happened last issue. Nathan was sacrificed. Like Chicago's in rubble, and now
because of him, right? Because of him, like yeah. I guess he doesn't directly know that it could have blown up anyways. But yeah, this is definitely a lot of based on his choices and what he's done, which makes it pretty interesting too. Like it's not just outside factors. Like he's kind of caused this to himself in a way.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's also taking charge in this moment. So he's taking some sort of responsibility. At least he's choosing to speak for Earth, which I think is bold for Marshall, considering he doesn't understand what's happening. But yeah, next page we get the final moment where, like, I love how like. This kind of goes to what we're saying about the old ways and the new ways. I guess maybe this is my interpretation of it, is like every time Premier is talking while he's in the Premier shell, like in the Premier form, right? Like the Radiance is equipped and all that activated. He's always talking this weird math shit, bro. Like it's like software talking. You know what I mean? You know when you're like typing shit in your computer's like the what do you call it? The command prompt, and then just shit comes up, and it's just like it just says things to you, and you're supposed to like somehow understand it.
He's a computer that needs an input.
Like. Yeah, he needs input. Spoiler.
So do you think that means? Do you think that means that whatever premiers, I guess, Colossal is the one that's in control?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I don't think the dude under the shell, and I think we'll see it
on
the stage. But this is a big moment. I love again the composition from Eduardo Farigato. I love the sequence of events.
It's like
this reminds me of the
poster.
Thing. The thing. Yeah. But I do love how they chose to do this. I love because it's such a big moment, and it adds to the tension. It's like the drum roll before you're about to get.
We didn't predict.
Were you guys?
Oh, no.
Before I don't know if you're gonna show it or not, but before you do, did you guys expect like a badass? Like, what did you guys expect before you actually?
I was expecting someone like more badass than Core. Like that's what I was expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wasn't sure. But I could say I was literally expecting pretty much anything but what was revealed. For sure. It was a big surprise.
I really dug this. Before we get into it, like I like how going down, you see the spine of Premier, right? Like light up, and this kind of is like the spine of the whole thing. And the spine, in literary terms, it's compared to like your backbone, like like how much control you have or standing up for yourself. And the backbone is like a digital kind of one. So there's a lot you can read into that, but I really like the design, and what we got here wasn't what I expected. And that's, we spent hours speculating about this, and we didn't think it would just be.
I don't think anyone guessed this. You couldn't really guess it. Yeah, I don't think you could. I don't think you could.
It's giving me a little bit like Darth Vader vibes too. I guess I'll wait till you
reverse Darth Vader is what I was thinking. Where he's weaker.
Reverse.
Or like Men in Black. You know that Men in Black scene where they like get killed at the restaurant, and it's like the human is like a vessel for the tiny.
This didn't have quite the same effect, but it almost gave me that Wizard of Oz effect, where it's like the the little dude behind everything. But yeah, no, this was cool. We don't get a name for this guy, right? We still don't have a name for this guy.
I don't.
We don't get it. And even like he's clearly alien because he refers to Marshall Wardeff's Soul 3. Soul 3, I'm assuming, is like the third planet from the sun, right?
Yeah, that's what I
thought. So like this guy is clearly like extraterrestrial. He's clearly alien by the looks of him as well. But he doesn't have humanoid elements, right? Like he does look like. I mean, he has arms, legs, like somewhat human elements. So what's interesting to me though is looking at his body. He says, what does he say? He says, "I can sense, I know his thoughts well as much as a biologic can." So this dude's just talking a lot. I feel like the reason he's talking so much is because like he hasn't been like let go of control, let off the leash in a while. It feels like
Do you think Premier released him maybe because he could actually explain with words what's going on a little bit, or like okay,
and a ploy like here there's a human underneath all this. You could have all this power, no matter how feeble you might feel. This is what you can have and control, and we're symbiotic, we're linked or something. I think it was part of the manipulation to try to get
manipulation. It's like, look, I'm a weakling, but like everything is inevitable when you have like this radiant, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what you want anymore, right? Like the radiant's gonna do what it has to do, and you could either go with it and like embrace it, or you could like fight against it and like lose that battle,
And this is almost the path he's kind of heading down, right? Like in a way, like this dude says, what's it said? Yeah, being unfilled is the true bondage, enslaved by doubts and indecision by guilt. So I think that guilt part is a big piece of that, where like Marshall's just like what does he have to lose at this point? I guess his parent, his mom, and we still don't know about his dad. But yeah, I think that guilt's just really gonna chew him up, kind of like this guy did. It seems also it seemed like he was in the accretion at some point. He says not even my time in the accretion came close to the guilt. I kind of felt. So I thought that was a cool touch there too.
I tried to find one of his people in the jail cell scene we got in 28.5, but with a quick glance, I don't see anything. But no, this was a really cool twist, and like he lost his arm during the conflict and stuff like that. That just shows more of like, I lost everything. I lost literally a part of me. I lost my people, but still I capitulated. And this is trying to show Marshall like, hey, this is maybe the most logical thing to do for the most amount of lives to be. Would you rather be enslaved or alive? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's telling him the story, basically his story of how he was resisting the last catalyst and he lost his colleagues, his arm. And he's basically saying it's inevitable. Like, well, you know, he says it never ends, not if you keep fighting. And even if you win, you have to be vigilant, faithful, dedicated to the old way. Any other way is a childish delusion. And then Marshall asks him, that planet, did it pass? And he says, the challenge can be won or lost, but catalyst always reigns at the end. Often when you make a decision, it is not for what you believe it to be. I thought that was particularly interesting. He's almost like telling him, like, there's manipulation, like here.
It
like
feels, to me, that felt like they're talking to us too with the whole vote.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's like going to compete in like the Olympic Games or some games at like in North Korea. Like, I don't know if it's going to be fair. I'm imagining North Korea is going to do really well. Like, there's going to be a thumb on the scale on this test. Catalyst wasn't going to do a thing where it's like, oh, you were so good, we're not going to invade, we're going to leave you. You know, either way, there's no test to really pass. It's just a way of wording things and testing people to get their own data.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love that you could see like Core like behind him sneaking up on him right there.
This scene was tense.
Yeah, it was very tense. It was very, this is like very like Darth Vader-esque here, where he's just like, will you rule? And you kind of just switch back to Marshall's expression. He looks like he's in deep thought. He's not sure what to do, like almost trepidatious.
Oh, he definitely sees Core at this point. He knows what's coming.
He sees him, but I don't think he knows that. Like, I don't think he thinks that the alien is aware of him. And in the next page, the alien just straight up bitch slaps Core, like without turning. I don't even know how he does it. Is it one of his guards? Yeah, his guard shoots him.
Yeah.
And then he says, has Core told you of his rejection, his defection, of why he is 001? And then he says, there is no greater honor than purpose. Core was chosen for the honor you now hold, the most loved. But Core chose treason instead. He corrupted the Colossals. He aided in their betrayal. He murdered the vessels, then stole that which he rejected. He is responsible for the Radiant's presence here. If you could have killed Core before his arrival, how many would still be alive on your world? Is the moral calculus of that choice too challenging for you? It is for me, as well as it should be. And then he equips the Radiant again, and that's where you get. See, this is where he sneaks up on him, tries to hit him, just gets shot by one of the guards. I love how this dude's menacing. And then right here, he really equips the Radiant, and he says, Core says, I love Core's line where he says, I will die, the new way will not. And then he says, connection severed, and he just melts him. Just straight up, like, obliterates him. Yeah.
Core died with, holding true to core values.
Yeah. This was a big death, man. Yeah.
Answers so many questions, too, that we were answering. Like, how did he get there? Why was he there in the first place? I love how, or I was reading back 24, and I guess he completely lied to them. He asked them then, and he told them that your robot is the one responsible for leading us to the new way, for killing the old avatars and stealing the Radiance. But man, that's it was cool. Puts that character on definitely a higher pedestal.
The first Radiant Black villain was actually leading us all to potentially,
which I love, and I'm not actually sure this is intentional. I just kind of wanted to mention this is one of these Massiveverse posters. Quick, like the newest one, it has 001 right in the middle of the poster with the Radiant on his chest, like in the middle of everything. So I thought that was just kind of
that's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, man, what a character. What a death for sure. It's sad.
Well, we got a couple more deaths coming up down the pipe here. Like,
wasn't the saddest death.
This was wild.
This was already crazy. I was already thinking like, wow, like this is insane. This is like, Jesus Christ, I must emotionally recover. And then we see the story shifts again. You don't get to see what happens here. So it's left to the interpretation until, of course, it's revealed. In the next page, we're back at Lockport, Illinois. You can see everything's on fire. He's at a grave, Nathan Burnett's grave, and he's just sitting there reflecting. And that's where Satomi and Eva pull up in a car, and they're just wondering what's happening. They're asking him, Marshall, what happened? And that's where he tells them, like, basically, you have to surrender. We have to use the Radiance and fight them because there's no way we can actually like take them on. And then she assumes, like Satomi assumes that Marshall just said no. And she says, yeah, no, I'm with Marshall. Yes, isn't an option here. And he's like, that's not. And he already looks like pretty defeated. And that's like, I love this moment with the white background, almost like to emphasize.
It's serious. Like nothing else matters right now.
Yeah, he's like, I already said yes. And I was just like, dude, at first I was like, my personal emotions reading this, I was like, my heart's beating fast, and I'm like, dude, this guy has a plan. He's like Batmaning this shit. Like he's not gonna like actually like defect. He's just like pretending so that like they can mount some sort of like resistance.
Like Walking
right?
Dead with Negan or something.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
eventually we'll mount
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
And I'm like,
that's
okay,
what I was.
like,
Yeah, that's what I was hoping,
yeah. I
man.
think we're
But
all like,
like,
because we all like voted for him.
going back today, I was going through all of his moments, like where the first time he turned to dark mode and almost blew up that building and like killed that guy. Like he seemed it does seem more and more the way you look at it. Like every conflict he gets into is just like, okay, I need to kill that person. I just need to get rid of them so I won't have to worry about them. Like he does that all the time. Even these robots, like when they killed Nathan, like he's not worried about how to solve the problem. He was worried about, he's like, oh, do these robots feel pain so I can hurt them? Like that was his kind of
Plus he was going to rebel. He was going to, like, what about the foreign armies?
Yeah.
Can we use them? Like he was down for that as well.
So more, I do love how, although we all, and who knows how this will turn out, but I know we weren't, I know we thought Marshall could turn evil, but we weren't looking forward to it, I guess I should say. But man, this was a heartbreaker, but it just makes sense. It makes sense. Unfortunately for us Marshall fans, it makes sense.
Now that you put it that way, I've always thought of Marshall as being kind of like relentless. When Nathan died, he never gave up. Against Satomi, he didn't give up. But
he tried to kill Satomi. I went back. That's what I'm saying.
He
was like, die.
Yeah,
like, that's all he was saying the whole fight. Like he wants to kill her.
Now that he can't kill the person in front of him, like he truly deep down believes he cannot kill him, that's when he gives up.
Yeah. And I think that is the thing, but I also think this could be, I don't know if this is the third door, but they're saying the third door is to test intellect and ingenuity, to like how to problem solve and stuff like that. So I'm curious if it's kind of,
I thought the third door was last issue. So Marshall passed the first two tests.
The first
2 out of 3.
The first door was the invasion, like the first wave, like from all the robots. The second door was the indoctrination, was when they came face to face with the acerration.
Yeah.
And then the third door, they say is it's to test intellect and ingenuity. That was last issue. That was last. Yes. And
they said this is the key or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. You're right. So.
But he's saying I need, like, what does he say before we get to this? Right. He says, if I didn't say yes, they would, like, we'd already be goddamn Ash. And then he says, this isn't going to happen anyway. This is going to happen anyway. If we cooperate, we can do like good at a world level. And then he says, he almost looks like dejected. He looks like he doesn't believe
that was the line there. He says, this is going to happen anyways. If we cooperate, maybe we won't have to give up our powers. Maybe we can keep our powers. Like that was kind of the line there where it's like, what do you really care about here? And obviously he's lost so much, but it's like, damn, like that was the line there.
He doesn't really have a plan here. They jumped him at the thing. No. Like he was thinking this just happened. There, he's at his friend's grave, still grieving Chicago. I assume his mom lives nearby. Like he probably lost his mom as well. So like he's lost everything, and then he's confronted with his allies who are about as powerful as him, and then shit goes like this. So like I'm not defending Marshall. I'm just explaining his mental state.
This is very much like this whole issue gave me Parallax vibes for sure. Like Parallax for sure. Like he goes crazy with the loss of Coast City, and he just can't handle it, right? So he tries to recreate that doesn't work out, and then he goes after the power source itself to try to reclaim everything so he can have all the power. So that's
like
kind of
to me a little bit this issue, and in the best way.
So good. Yeah, really.
So good. And that's where Satomi just walks away. She says she's going back to Kieran and she's done. She doesn't want to be with this person who defected. That's where he says, wait. And once you did that, you knew they were going to start fighting. Like once he froze her here, I was like, they're going to fight.
Round two.
Marshall shot first.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, listen to me, okay? It's a fucked situation, I know, but it's one we can actually make the best of. She says, let go of me, Marshall. And that's where she tugs at, she kind of drains some of his power to create some armor and then, smacks him in the face right there. Awesome. Again, artwork by Eduardo Fregato.
You feel that punch. Yeah.
Killing it. Yeah. Really awesome page. And then this is where it gets crazy. It becomes Radiant Black versus Radiant Red Part 2.
Yeah.
Marshall just gets
isn't it just right to have Eduardo draw this too? Like he drew the first fight versus them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love this like pizza slice paneling here. Yeah, no. This is an amazing fight. Even just this page right here is such an iconic page in my opinion. Like it's so memorable seeing them on both sides.
One of the better fights for sure.
Yeah, seeing Radiant Pink in the middle, like caught between them, you know, like trying to stop it. And that's where you see like Marshall's kind of not only unhinged right now.
He's trying to unleash martial law here, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes for Radiant Red, and then Radiant Pink intervenes by teleporting in between the middle of them, trying to stop them from fighting. And that's where Stomy yells, Marshall has a choice. Are you willing to die fighting to save your world, or are you going to give up and die right here? I love what he says. He just says, fuck you, Stomy. He's just like, you felt that one, that he was wanting to say that since like the hospital days. You know what I mean? Like that one's been there for a long time, been getting cooked in the oven. And then he says, I won, and they're still going to take over the world. We aren't strong enough. We either work with them or humans are over. So here, that's where I thought like he's kind of being foolish because he doesn't take into account like all of them together. He's thinking purely from an individualistic standpoint. Here it is, right? So this next part is brutal, right? So he slams Satomi to the side. He's charging up the big beam. Remember the big beam that the first time was pretty deadly, and he shoots. And I knew immediately when I saw what happened here, I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Exactly when you were talking about Eduardo's, like
it's
not his illustration, but his storytelling through his panels, man. This was exactly what I thought of.
In the other timeline, she remembers donuts. In this timeline, she becomes a donut.
It still hits hard, man. When you flip that page and you see that hole through her chest, like
it's some invincible
that's
shit,
brutal.
This reminds me of when, like, spoiler, when someone died in Invincible because Conquest like murdered them. Of course, you know that was a bait and switch, but still, this is not.
This is one of the top 5 pages in the whole series. So,
but what about her streaming career?
But even
I know she's dead, but
the bottom is what kills it.
Oh
They're
my
just
God.
the face off.
It's like round 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's like round 2, and they're both like they both know what needs to they both don't have time to mourn. They both don't have time to even think about what just happened. They both.
I need the Radiant. I can't lose an edge in this fight.
Oh,
and like look at that, the way the Radiant, the way the panels split with the pink Radiant is like perfectly.
Amazing. This is incredible storytelling right here.
Imagine if we had an animated clip of this. Like here's the QR code. It's still amazing.
This was like I was like sweating reading this. Just like, oh my God, like I was like, oh my God, like what did you just do? And I was thinking like how are they gonna immediately? I was like, the moment I was like, how are they gonna fix this? Like, this is you can't come back
the whole time.
The
whole time, I'm like, how is this gonna end now? Because I'm like, we're getting to like a point now where you can't undo certain things. Like, there's no coming back from this.
That's the crazy thing is we have 2 of each character, so it's like obviously like you're gonna have some deaths, but it's still like it hits as hard completely.
It does,
and it's like which characters are you gonna keep? Which ones are? But man,
Is that the only time we've seen shock on the face of the like Hulkbuster Satomi too? Usually she's just pissed. This is the first time I think
she's ever gotten it blown off her like that. Like that blast.
It's also like this page. I just want to say they like Kyle, Joe, and Eduardo like scripted this perfectly because they're writing this for the page flip, which is something comic books do, right? You to get you excited for that page flip, and this was exactly how it was in the physical issue. I imagine it's like right before you flip the page and you see who's the one who got the Radiant. But I just want to say again, incredible visual storytelling from Eduardo Vericado, incredible pacing, incredible like setting the tempo. It's so frenetic. It's so like everything's happening so quickly.
We've been building this for years, right? You have everyone's at their peak. This is the most badass Satomi. This is the most selfless Eve. Like Eva gave herself for this, right? She knew she could die, right? But it's like
I had no idea who was gonna get it here. Like before I flipped the page, I didn't know. I was like, who's gonna get it? Because that could go either way. Right?
Honestly, by this point, would have been Satomi gets it.
So cool.
Yeah,
Satomi with would be cool because she was doubted on her whole time, and then she finally has the power to change her future.
Yeah, there's our.
Look at that.
Look at that. Satomi, her arm got blown up in the explosion, and you just see him with the pink eyes glowing, and the cape mode is like half pink, half blue now. There's like pink electricity going around him. His like it looks like all Chendraly, the radiant itself.
It was like Venom, right?
Yeah, Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he had all the flavors of 5 gum at once. Like he's just ready to fucking go.
Look at her. She's like in denial.
And
Tommy is a boss here.
Oh my god.
It's so brutal. Like everything just kind of the dust settles, and at this point, like obviously he says Satomi, please, but like this is the point of no return.
Yeah,
this is
that's
the
how I
point.
feel.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the point.
I said
Shit's
no,
down.
God,
He's chose
never.
his side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely
Never.
on purpose.
And then he doesn't even let her say never the second time. He just kills her, and you see her bleeding out on the floor. And I won't go there yet. You see her bleeding out on the floor, and he just looks at her, and then he walks up to the red radiant and grabs it. And right as he grabs it, he says, "We're not strong enough." And then you see this glorious page right here. This is another like incredible, like truly memorable page where you're seeing him morph with all 3 radiants for the first time. Reality is sort of like glitching. You see parts of existence appearing, which makes me think there's more to it than what's happening. Like the fact that existence is bleeding in, right?
For
like
sure.
maybe trial or something.
Have these radiants been combined before? Like were they originally together, or were they always separate?
That's my biggest, or combined is my biggest question. But my biggest question is, obviously we see like Nathan come and see this Marshall. I don't want to go too ahead, but we have 2 of each character, right? Like we have 2 Evas, we have 2 Satomi. So do we have 2 of each radiant right now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
so.
And is there
every
one
radiant
existence over both timelines, or 2 existences?
That's also
I can't say for sure.
Yeah, that's also
one
a question.
Existence.
Yeah, I guess that we really
like, do you guys notice how this yellow path is leading up to this like timeline? Maybe those are branches to like alternate timelines, all stemming
and
from
Wendell's
existence.
involvement at the very least, linking them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
This was amazing, and imagine if we had to wait like 3 more months for another issue. Luckily, we got 2 here, and they were both like
insane. Yeah, and then you get
this is wild. Yeah,
this is the mic drop.
Did you guys?
I saw this, I was like, oh,
that was cool.
Like,
did you guys take that as Marshall talking? Like, if you go 1 page back, is that Marshall talking from the other issue over to him?
Yeah. Why did you do that? I think that my first interpretation was that's yellow asking like why he did that. But then when I turned the page, I'm not entirely sure anymore because it could be Marshall, right?
Because that's what he was saying.
The other issue,
the next issue says that. Yeah, so maybe the speech is like with existence with reality bleeding in and out and existence bleeding in and out. Maybe the other branches have like some sounds bleeding in and out. Yeah,
because that's what they used to travel to the other timeline was existence itself. So they traveled through existence. So maybe that could be the link between the worlds.
Yeah.
Either way,
I think it's safe to say this is one of the best issues of the entire series. Like without a doubt, it doesn't even. There's no.
One of the best issues of the decade of any comic, really. I mean, look at this.
Really, like honestly, and
tell me a flaw.
When you read the second part, which we'll get into in a second, it's actually so well paced. Like he really takes advantage of the fact that it's like 0.5. Like there's 2 chapters to each issue, so he takes real advantage of the medium in that sense. And I thought it was really well paced. So this was insane, an incredible issue. I would say easiest 10 out of 10 I've had to give in a long time. They nailed everything. Everything they told us was true. They said it was going to be bigger. They said we were going to see things coming. They said it was going to be insane, things that we wouldn't be able to guess, and all of that was true, and it was satisfying. It wasn't in a like bullshit subvert your expectations way. No, it was done with so much amazing craft. I'm curious to see now what's going to happen with the alien guy who was under the premier Radiant. Like if we'll ever get to know them more on a more intimate level, because now that Core is gone, I feel like we have that space there to have this antagonizing alien.
Core is gone in this timeline.
Yeah, and that's the thing too.
So I have a question about that. So is Marshall gonna become the new premier, or is Marshall gonna become like what Core was supposed to be?
I think Marshall is gonna become what Core was supposed to be because the Premier, like I think Marshall's scared of Premier. I think that's why he's doing other shit.
Wasn't Core just supposed to be Radiant Black or no?
Yes,
I wrong?
Yes. I think
Core
was supposed to be their leader.
Core was just
Radiant
supposed
Black
to be
the leader of the 4.
Oh, okay, yeah, he was supposed to be the new Radiant Black, but I guess he maybe didn't like that information or knew there was something up with that, so that's when he started this whole rebellion. Yeah.
I'm excited for the dynamic though. Like not to skip too far ahead, but I think we're gonna get Marshall and Nathan teaming up again to fight Premier, maybe, right? Because you have the cracked out Marshall and then good Nathan, who's never really made those mistakes. So they might have to team up again against Premier, or Marshall could screw him and then take Premier's power and then have both all the Radiance and Premier's unlimited.
Hold on. Are you saying they're gonna team up as just Nathan with the Radiant and Marshall without it, or what if Marshall takes
Marshall with all the Radiance?
Two Radiant, they both are Radiant Blacks from two different.
Evil Marshall from this timeline is gonna team up with good Nathan from this timeline to fight.
Yes,
I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
No, see, I was saying the Marshall from Nathan's timeline takes the Radiant Black from the bad Marshall.
Oh,
then the same timeline, Nathan and Marshall fight as Radiant Blacks.
That would be cool too.
That's
I think there's so many possibilities.
It could go. Yeah, I know. We can sit here and theorize forever.
It's also based on Crisis in some senses. There's some influence from Crisis. Yeah. And in Crisis on Infinite Earths, like Superman of Earth 2 and Superman of Earth 1 come together, like with all the heroes together, right at the end to fight.
But you can see. You can see Marshall being like, I don't want to take the Radiant because I saw what I did with this. I don't want to take. I don't want it. And he's like, no, that's not you. That didn't happen to you. You can see that happening. Like you can see the layout for that happening in the next.
I mean, if he wins the vote, he doesn't have a choice, bro. We're throwing the Radiant at him, and he's got a deal. It is what it is, baby.
No,
grab that Radiant by the balls and just equip it.
let's have a revote. I think that's what we need because I think I'm feeling like we all follow the color personality.
I'm still voting for Marshall, bro.
Whoa!
I'm just saying. I'm still voting. For
me too.
I think it makes the story more interesting, bro. I'm just saying.
All right.
Well, let's see. Like,
let's get to part B.
There's a lot. Let's get to part B. Exactly.
This was wild. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Phoebe Moore. Good shit.
Exactly. So notice same title, so it's part of the same chapter, and we've got writer Kyle Higgins with Joe Clark on writing duties as well. The Dream Team, Ordinary Gods, Deep Cuts, and now again Radiant Black. So Catalyst War. And we've got Marcelo Costa, the co-creator of Radiant Black, the legend himself, doing the pencils for this issue. And then we've got Rod Fernandez alone. Okay, now it makes so much sense. Okay, now I know who went crazy on those colors. Okay, Rod Fernandez and the colors, Becca Carey on letters, Michael Basuto on editing and designing. Of course, special thanks to Ryan Sidoti and production artist Wesley Griffiths. So first page, dude, right off the bat, this is an all-timer page too. Like starting 2 issues with like insane, like the first page with like Premier coming down is awesome. This is insane.
Like reminds me of the Swamp Thing.
Yes,
love this layout.
This is like her first, like the first time she gets the Radiant in the donut shop.
She went sicko mode.
She goes sicko mode, but only through like a couple, and it's a little more clean. Like the circles are a little more clean. This one's all over the place. She's going her first, I guess, her first hint at God mode here. Here we see. I wish we got a little more hint at the God mode, but I do like it. We get a little hint at it on the next page, and I like the look, but I hope it comes back.
We might see it during a final battle with her teleporting robots out of place.
I hope so.
I
hope so.
Yeah.
Before we get into the issue,
right there's a donut shop right there.
Yep.
Ah,
that's where Wendell is too. That's probably when she found out he was there. When you were going over the credits, when you the title for this issue is The Final Trial. What if Premier kind of trying to recruit Nathan and Marshall is a trial? Like, what if Marshall didn't really?
No, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's like
I wouldn't be
like testing. Because like, why would Premier want a lieutenant if he has all those? I don't know. There's a lot of things that, in my opinion, like him also saying that, like, you know, there's a lot of fuckery in the trials. You know, so it's like I think he's not telling him everything, or if he is, he's doing it from a convenient point of view because he wants like an easier victory or something. You know?
Yeah. Dictators hardly play fair, right? So it's tough to know. This was so sad too. We're just reeling right from Papa Burnett's death. Like Nathan's face just killed me. Like rereading this, just getting to the death was so well done. It just hits like a Mack truck or like a truck that blew up just enough of it to take care of your dad, which fucking sucks. Like he's sitting in the back of the truck that his dad died in, just crying and stuff like that. And I like that. This is a nice little friendship moment between them. Like I'm not gonna let you forget. It's so nice.
Yeah, that's very sad.
And then
there's the moment. Yeah, after the portal frenzy, she's resting and she says, duh, of course, donuts. And she realizes that our friend is in the donut shop. And this is the moment that was talking about. Yeah, so Marshall's pedaling on this bike really quickly. I love it. And it has like little like confetti or does the strings on the side of it. It's a kid's bike, right?
Yeah,
he's pedaling through Morgan Park, Chicago, trying to find Nathan, and he sees Nathan just sitting. Is that his dad's car? That's his dad's car, right?
Yeah. The front half of the car is up there.
Also, the
So,
bike,
yeah.
if you look at it, it's got a little white piece that kind of looks like the Pink Ranger chest piece, or on the Pink Ranger.
Good,
I don't know
good.
if that's on purpose, but it definitely, if this would be the place to reference it. But yeah, keep.
Yeah, so he says Dad was right. Nathan says Dad was right. I'm not going to forget. Don't let me forget that. Promise me. You have to promise me. And then they have this really tender moment. He hugs him and he says, I promise. And Satomi has to be the mood breaker or the mood destroyer. She says, shit,
Yeah.
while looking up the sky. And we see that Catalyst Empire is here, swarming down right above them. And he says, Premier comes down. I run the clock for us. Marshall's trying to have like a heroic moment. And then Nathan's like, you know what? No, might not be enough. And he says, call in Kieran, bring in Shift, the 5 indicate everyone. If this is
Because
it,
his
then I
dad,
want
right?
to
That's what his
go
dad
down
died saying. Like,
Yep.
it's not a shortcut to get help.
So immediately Premier comes and he's trying to assess them, and he says, display event results, execute. And he's just like, no, I heard you. I just don't know what you're trying to. Boom, they get teleported elsewhere, and Premier just keeps talking to himself. We see that they're outside the donut store, and Pink is apologizing, but she says, this is really important. We have to go talk to Wendell. He went sicko mode. When she went sicko mode, she saw him for a second. Yeah, he's in the store. They have to go see for themselves. So you get this really cool page. Again, there's all like a Bill and Ted moments. I feel like
real quick before you go in here, I'm just curious what you guys thought about this. And like, we know he's a smart guy. He's figured out lots of stuff at this point, Nathan.
Someone just go back to the issue where he has the pictures and make sure that we haven't gotten any hints to this shit in the past. I feel like maybe they snuck one in there, right?
We should do
how clever they are.
We might do an episode on that in between as we're waiting for the name of the issues in September. I think we could do something like that of like, all right, the penultimate episode before the end of the war. We could do that potentially. But yeah, this was pretty wild. It is weird that Wendell was just at a donut shop. Like, did he just pop out of existence there and that was where he was going to post up? I don't know. But well, I'm just glad we didn't get a shitty metaphor of the spaghetti or the time travel stuff of like, oh, this is no one ever thinks of the donut hole. There's always a third option or something like that. I'm glad we didn't go there. But maybe we might in the next one. But yeah, this was really cool, the way that he was speaking and answering questions that weren't being asked yet. That was really, I like that.
Yeah, I reread that page like 3 times, different ways each time. Like sometimes I read Wendell's first, and then theirs was. That was such a cool
because he's talking to people in different timelines, right? He's replying to people at different points of time. Is what I was getting. And then, but like when he says at the end, it's not one or the other, it's both. Maybe he's like also saying to them that he's like, I'm also kind of talking to you guys. I don't know. But then he says, this was a mistake. And he says, come on, we've got to. And you guys, I'm not exaggerating. This next page made my jaw drop. I was in shock. I was staring at it for like a good, like real life 5 minutes, just admiring it, just being like, my God, one of the best pages, in my opinion, of the entire Massiveverse.
That's how I felt reading the issues too. Like you felt like you're lost in time in the best way. Like,
look at this. Oh my Lord. Like Rod Fernandez is just showing off with his coloring, and Marcelo's just showing off with his art. And this is, I would pay 4 digits for this original art page. I would. Tell
me a better, like, this team, we just get the best colors in the Massiveverse, really. I
mean, I don't hate to throw, like, obviously the pencils are great too, but I wonder what it would look like without the colors, you know? Probably not quite as vibrant, but man, yeah, these
still piece of history
just destroyed it. Yeah,
I love how he did like the gravitational distortion of like them kind of moving through like the wormhole or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's like the Simpsons Trees of Horror with 3D Homer, kind of. Like, I love it. Like,
so good. So good. Look at like the anatomy, those fingers, like straight up from Neil Adams shit right there. Just incredible.
I wonder how long this page alone took.
This must have taken so long. Yeah, I feel like this page took
it's so detailed, man. It's so
detailed.
Yeah,
see, like
museum you'd have a whole like black light room for this.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I this should be like a poster or something. I would pay good money to get this as a poster or something. This is just gorgeous. Like straight up, first time we run into this page, I was just staring at it for 5 minutes, admiring it. I was like, Marcelo Costa, and you slayed. And like Eduardo had a lot of moments like that as well in the last issue. But like this one, really, with the coloring and everything, was just so visually different than whatever we're used to as a big action set piece. It was the kind of moment you wouldn't think they would go all out. Right?
A blown up version of this at C2E2 next year or something would go hard.
Oh my God. So
yeah, this was clever. What we did here once we go into the other timeline, the SIM card shit I thought was really clever.
Yeah. Good way to explain it. Yeah.
Really good way to download
like,
dialogue, and that would probably happen. I haven't universe hopped with a SIM card, but you know, that checks to me that logic. Like, oh wait, this would happen. It just you probably you have the page there, but yeah, I was a little confused with like, wait, am I reading this? Does this mean I'm reading black here? It's like, well, yeah, kind of. I didn't know if that was Marshall or Nathan there for a second, and it's like, yeah, it kind of means you failed as reading black here, but whatever. This was cool.
Yeah, I love how Brenda Boss, like Brenda is like he has her as Brenda Boss, and she's like, "I knew it, you son of a bitch! I knew you were radiant black." Like all those bad moms and shit. It's like it took you this long to figure it out.
It says pink.
Well, at least now we know his mom is still alive.
It's Satomi, the red one, Ava,
as of 2 days ago.
Bro.
Yeah, true. Sorry to hear about your friend. That's the nicest we've ever seen her too. Is that text? Sorry to hear about your friend. Like your best friend dies. That's the most like what is empathetic we've seen his mom so far.
Yeah, it's true.
No, this is great. Also, what killed me was Nathan Burnett has now a legacy account popping up on the phone. Like,
right, yeah.
No one uses social media and stories better than Kyle Higgins. I will die on that hill, and that's such a a gut punch notification. Like, you can feel bad about. I mean, in real life, if you see that notification about someone you know, that'd be brutal. I didn't know. I haven't known anyone that passed away on their Facebook and gotten this notification, but I believe that's probably how they do it, and it's a gut punch.
Yeah. It is. I love also. I just love the Bill and Ted nature of it. Like a lot of this stuff is very Bill and Ted-esque. You know what I mean? Where they're finishing each other's sentences. It's just like it took me back to those like 90s comedy time travels and things like that. Almost like a Clerks moment too. And we've seen how there's like some fun minor Clerks influence throughout the series, right? Even especially with the video store, the Real World or whatever it's called. So yeah, awesome page. Now they're caught up. This is a good way to get the exposition out of the way as well for the in-universe explanation.
It's pretty seamless too.
Yes. And Marshall has to see this. Like he saw his failure here. This is what happens if you act the way you are. If you just go for the kill all the time. Like Ali was saying, this is the timeline where your current beliefs. This is where it breaks down. Although this Marshall kind of not gave up, but is more open than Nathan being radiant black, so he's a bit more passive than this one. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I
don't think he knows. Real quick too, I don't think Marshall knows that Nathan died in this timeline.
If you checked his phone, he did.
Yeah,
it just says sorry about your friends, right? It doesn't say what friend someone could have died.
Oh, the legacy.
It doesn't really say.
The
legacy thing was on Nathan's phone.
Nathan knows he died. Yeah, Marshall doesn't know.
Nathan knows he died. Marshall doesn't.
And Nathan probably won't say like, "Oh, you didn't just kill our friends; you killed me too."
You're getting him prepped for that trauma in a second here, so it's not like we're going anywhere with those reveals. We're coming at you with those reveals in a second, but they see an explosion in distance and fly towards it, and that's where the trauma hits them straight up. They see Eva, their friend, there with a hole in her, just bloody and beaten and dead. And they're both kind of freaking out. They're both traumatized. Marshall honestly looks like he can't handle it. He looks like he's struggling to comprehend what's happened. And then the next page, you see Satomi dead. And that's where Marshall is in denial. He says, "No, Jesus, please, no." And he sees, I think he suspects at this point that that's him. He sees Radiant Black glitching in and out of reality on the floor right there, right? Look at the shock on his face. And
you actually know what's sad is even Nathan's face behind Marshall's. Like
it's almost like I knew this was happening.
Yeah, like remember what happened in existence? Remember his truth in existence. Like he didn't want Marshall to have the radiant because he knew he was going to go too far. He didn't trust him at all. So yeah, this is kind of like, damn, like I didn't tell you so, but like
what are we calling this?
He wasn't surprised.
I like 75%, like kind of like Cell in Dragon Ball Z, because he's got 3 of the 4 radiants now. It's like 75% for him, but I don't know. It's unstable, Marshall, for sure.
Bro, like that. He's Thanos collecting the gems. That's what he is, right? Big moment here. And then the next page, that you kind of hear him kind of glitching out again with existence, and they're saying there's only truth. He says, "Nathan, is that you?" And I can't tell if he's looking at like the Nathan and the Radiant Black or what, because he has his back to them, and then he's yelling.
I think it's the voice. I think he thinks it's the voice.
Yeah. Maybe that's Nathan talking to him from like the timeline where he saved him, but some time bullshit. And he's like, "See, I told you."
Existence manifests itself as people sometimes. That's what happened the first time he went.
Yeah.
I actually really like this arc. If we're going there, of Marshall goes into existence to save Nathan from death, and then Nathan uses existence to save Marshall from the darkest version of himself or something, or like redeems him. I think that's kind of a cool little. If we do that,
He has to go inside existence to uncorrupt him or something. Yeah.
Or like I don't know if we can redeem this Marshall or if he'll just fade off into nothing.
That's the thing at this point. Yeah. How do you do it at this point? But it's kind of like
we'll get to that in a second. There's a tease at that, but we see this next page, right? He says he comes, and then they look up and they see Premier appear, and he says change catalyst, forge, create, destroy, change catalyst, and then Marshall goes up to himself, right here, and he says Marshall. And I love this moment where he turns around, he uses his pink powers to teleport them away, and he just says, do better. And he throws them somewhere else. I like seeing this point of view from the person being ported out. It's like really cool, like watching them almost fall down this hole. Like there's nothing they can do. It's inevitable, right? And that's where they get teleported. They go back.
I love the do better too. Like they're still good in him. Like fix what I fucked up. Like do better. And then Yeah,
they're back at the donut shop, and Marshall's like, we got to go back right now. I killed friends. Why would I do that? And he says, hey, that wasn't you. You're right here. Do you hear me? And he says, we got to do better here because we're here now in this world, a world where we can still save. So they go back through the thing, they leave, and that's where they run into Premier again. And then he says, display results, execute. And he says, and then Nathan says to him, you want my answer? Hell no, I will never work for you. And that's where the person exits the shell once more. And he says, of course you won't, Nathan Burnett of Soul 3. You lost. Okay, so this is ambiguous, right? Because it can mean two things. It can mean he lost the challenges. He didn't pass the right amount, right? He said you need to pass at least 2 out of 3 to be considered a pass.
Yeah.
So maybe he failed that. But it could also mean he lost the vote or both, right? Like maybe they're teasing at that. I don't think they would do that yet.
That'd be cool. I wish.
That's the impression I got at first. I'm like,
I wish.
Lost the vote. Yeah, I wish, exactly. So it's interesting because I feel like we can sit here and speculate about what can happen next issue, but I think it's pointless because literally the possibilities are endless. They can do it any different way, right? And they said, for those of you wondering, the next issue they said is most likely going to release September 18th. So that's in 2.5 months, which is
but you don't have to wait that long because Supermassive follows up pretty close to the and the action. This is amazing. Supermassive, just a tease, has some of the most dynamic action in the Massiveverse. Fantastic job by everyone involved, and it was like an action movie. It was really hype, and
it was amazing.
Yeah. So you won't have to wait all the way till September to get follow-ups on some threads here. So get in on it. It was great. But that was an interesting read about whether he lost the vote. For me, I took it as you lost the challenge, like just the blunt read of it, and losing that challenge isn't a loss. Like losing a rigged game doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, like the Kobe Ashimaru or something, right? Like you're not necessarily a loser. Really, you could be the best person, still have the chance to actually end their regime with this timeline. And they're really desperate now. This could be like, second timeline Thanos or some shit. But no, I'm interested.
It's also like interested, like maybe the whole challenge is to see who is the one who can win at being the loser. Like it's like, I know that sounds weird, but it's like it's looking for a vessel. So maybe it's testing them on that basis, on the basis of who can they subjugate, not necessarily who would rebel, right? And like when you look at the parallel to Kor, that's why Kor ultimately fails, because he abandons his so-called faith for a new way, right? So it makes me think, like, is that what the test is? Is the test to find out who the perfect candidate without questioning?
Yeah, true.
Right? Like when you think about a soldier is someone who doesn't question orders, right? A soldier just follows orders. So it makes me think, is that what this test is? Are they testing the capacity for them to rebel? Like that's why faith is a part of it, right?
That's a good idea.
Like all that, right? It's like
Kor might have failed their test, but in death, like his message lives on.
Kor passed the test at first. Like he was number one. He was number one, but then he rejected. He took the radiance, right? He took them, he stole them, and he tried to like escape. And he created this new way where he didn't want them to be like vessels anymore. So that makes me think maybe that's what they're testing for. Is like, do they want the perfect, like this like Manchurian candidate almost? You know what I mean? Like they want someone who's like will not question, will not like will just abide, right? Will just abide. Allow the body to be used as a battery to the best highest potential, but without wavering, unwavering like conviction.
They want a vessel. It's like a computer, like a human link. It's like that just takes the inputs and executes them, pretty much. But like a biological and can relate.
And
I'm liking this idea.
It's harmony, right? Like he wants them both to have a say, like to work together, like not necessarily have the robot or whatever the radiant controlling, but he wants to both have input and make a decision together.
Dude, the all-white Radiant Black looks sick in that cover underneath that, like in the next page, like coming up. Anyways, what were you saying, Ollie?
It's making what you just said is making me think maybe the test or winning the test is about kind of losing so much that they really just break you down and that you have nothing else to live for.
And
that's how they make you like this obedient.
Yes,
they inflict the fear into you, so you'll stay.
Nathan's dad dies, but he still wants to fight back.
Right,
he's still like,
he's
I'm not gonna do what you're doing. Yeah, that's why they're like, you lost maybe because you're just not, you refuse to like submit to the way, right? Like, whereas like Marshall's like he's broken down. He's almost like rationalizing the rationalization from them. He's almost like selling it to himself.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, maybe that's a big part of it, is that like they're trying to test who is the person who can be a vessel, not necessarily who is the better warrior, who's the better superhero. It's who is the better like soldier. You know what I mean? Like in their sense. Yeah.
Or like an Omni-Man, or not to spoil Invincible and stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like Omni-Man. Yeah, it reminds me of that in some ways. Yeah, because they're like, who's the best Viltrumite? Not just the strongest, but like the one who adheres to its ideals the most, right? Like,
and can spread the empire and does it for the good of whatever. Yeah. This was great. The white radiant looks amazing. I think it's one of my favorite designs in the series.
Do you guys think that's Premier or Marshall? And on the cover for next issue,
that's Marshall. That's Marshall.
Marshall's in the white. Yeah, Marshall's the white.
That's Marshall. Yeah. Marshall's the white. I think that's Marshall.
Yeah. So he might get the Premier like collar on him, or maybe Premier fuses with that power as well for him to go full white like that.
Dude, I want to see like what is Premier's deal? Like what? Like anyway, yeah. Because like
who's putting this input in? Like like why?
Like where is this power coming from? But I feel like Premier is misleading him. Like
we also knew those forces originally. There was forces that trapped these colossals into existence. We haven't even met those forces yet, or what they are.
I feel like we're going to get fights in and out of existence.
It's so much going on, but I also think it's cool is like at the beginning of all this, the colossals, like the whole thing was like Premier came and he just wanted to destroy the earth, but the colossals actually hoped to convince Premier to challenge Radiant Black. Like he had to convince Premier to challenge Radiant Black. Like all the colossals are hoping Radiant Black can take this challenge for some reason. So I think that's kind of interesting too. But yeah, it's so much going on. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like we were trying to guess who Premier is. I don't think there's an answer right yet that we know. Like that's kind of in the book.
And that leads me to my next question, which is, you guys remember when Invincible became a space book, it changed into a sci-fi. Are we thinking like now with the introduction of this alien being, the Catalyst War, all that stuff, are we thinking like this is going to be the impetus, almost the catalyst that is going to launch this book into like its evolution into space? Or are we thinking like, because there's so much that happened that it's like universal or like world or like, solar system level, right? In these issues, reality level, you could say. It's gonna be hard to come back from that. Like I can see them kind of calming things down for an arc where they get ready for the bigger things. But it's like you think about the fallout from all this. I feel like they're gonna have to take the fight to the Empire in some way or something. Like, right?
I think so.
That's true. Is he gonna take over the Empire? Yeah. No, there's lots of questions. Like, is he gonna completely destroy the catalyst, or is it something he's gonna try to use for a good way, maybe eventually? Kind of like, I don't want to spoil anything from Invincible, but yeah, kind of like it did in that book. Kind of.
It would be wild if Marshall like escaped and went on further to fight the Empire and like get the forces going later on. Like, I don't know, maybe we stretch this out, maybe we have plans, but this felt like the beginning of like the third act of a movie, and these next two issues I think are going to continue that kind of pace and wrap it up. Like, this has been epic. You can tell it was thought out ahead of time, and like, fuck, it was amazing. I just love those. Like, I felt like a bit of a dweeb tweeting it, like, oh, I had chills the whole time, but it was true. Like, I didn't make up anything to try to hype up this book. I legitimately was like, holy shit, this was wild.
It was actually legendary. Like, for me, this is one of the best like new comic book day experiences I've had in my life, for sure. Like, it was just satisfying read. It had me very emotionally invested. I was at the edge of my seat the entire time reading both issues. I was blown away by the quality in terms of writing,
literal jaw-dropping moments.
Honestly, many jaw-dropping, like many. It's not like 3 or 4. It's like many throughout both issues. Like the first time you see the donut shop, you're like, holy shit! It's like when they're inside,
it feels magical. You're
teleporting.
The stuff around you may as well be like hovering in the room stuff. You're like, oh my god, like nothing applies. And Bash said offline that this could be the biggest month for the Massiveverse ever, like as far as titles go, and I believe that, right? Supermassive, we've read it. It's
these
amazing.
2 issues and then
Rogue
Rogue
Sun.
Sun.
Yeah.
Like and they're all hitting like top. They're in those like they're at that point in the series where they've built so much that they're just delivering on all these crumbs and really just you know they're able to flex and do those cool moments because we've built up to them finally. So I just feel like July 2024 is one of the best months of the Massiveverse ever. When you really look at the quality and the consistency and just how all these books are almost crescendoing, or they're at that point of the arc where they're about to crescendo. So it's fantastic stuff. It really is.
Also, something I kind of realized this issue, we're talking like Satomi, and I was just thinking of the name Owen. It's kind of funny how you have the name Owen, like Owing, and then Satomi, like owe me at the end of Satomi, like you owe me and you're Owen. So I gotta think that.
My God, that's a mental gymnastics.
That's a stretch. Yeah,
I mean, it is. I'm not saying it was done on purpose. I'm just saying it's kind of an element. I just like their name.
Even eat some donuts after teleporting through that stretch, my man. That's how toxic that was.
That's what happens
But
when you get a word nerd.
I will say,
I like that.
No, it was great. I was just giving you shit. I will say though that I was really like blown away by when I was reading No One #9 recently. With shout out to No One, Kyle, and Brian Bucciato and Geraldo Borges and everyone working on that book. Yeah, they've been doing an incredible job. Mark Englert. I just want to say that the art there blew me away in issue 9. Like I've been reading a lot of Gotham Central recently, and it really shows me how Geraldo's in some ways, like, I don't know if he's deliberately doing it, but he's so good. He's like channeling Michael Lark, a little bit of you know, like artists like that, where there's like so much grit to their artwork. There's a lot of, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, it's great. But the issue for issue 29 and 29.5, 29 in particular, there's a lot of big like action moments in that issue. I'm really blown away by Eduardo Ferragato's work on that issue. Like, there's a lot of like moments where they're focusing on the facial expressions, and they're fantastic. There's a lot of big moments where the flow of the story is just perfect. Like, it really keeps you on the edge of your seat. You're really like, oh my God.
The motion of the characters when they're flying toward each other, and Satomi, and like, oh, you feel that like this is it, big stakes.
Yeah, right. And same thing with Costa on this issue on 29.5. He killed it. He, like, just when you open the page and you see the donut shop, right? You're like, because you're thinking like, what is it going to look like? And then you're like, why has he been camping out here? And you see it, and it's like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And then you go to the next page, and they're teleporting, and you go to the next page, it's destruction, and it's a lot of breathtaking pages and a lot of shocking moments. So I feel like it really delivered. I think together collectively, for me, it's 10 out of 10. It's just perfect, like perfect. They couldn't have done it better, in my opinion. So well done, Team Radiant Black.
You can feel the love, the passion, the work, the effort, attention to detail that went into both these issues.
You can feel the excitement. It couldn't
have been better.
Yeah. Like you can feel that they're excited for us to read this. Like,
this is Kyle's baby. Like, we've heard stories of him telling stories.
I need therapy. I tweeted like, we're gonna need therapy after reading this, and then Kyle retweeted, "We're sorry," like co-tweeted it, and then Michael co-tweeted, "I'm not." It's like, dude, like,
oh, that's great.
But,
yeah, Michael's been premiere this whole time.
After that, yeah, exactly.
I love the way they described it. Like, is the collar as much as the collar is the pet? Like, that writing was so good.
Yes.
Like, it's just, you're like, oh fuck, that explains it so well. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Clark killed.
We need to get a name for that dude. We need to get a name for that dude. Hope we get it next issue.
So this was fantastic.
Next issue, yeah. Sorry, I just want to give everyone heads up for the next issue. Radiant Black number 30 and number 30.5. This is the end of the story arc. These are the issues that are going to reveal to us who won the vote. It says here it's slated for 7 release. We were told earlier on the Discord that it's not going to be the case. It's most likely going to be September 18th. So just want to give everyone a heads up. Radiant Black 30 and 30.5, according to Kyle Higgins, is slated for September 18th release date, which means the FOC should be around the middle of August. So we have plenty of time to pre-order, get our orders in. Make sure you buy this, guys. It's the final chapter of the Catalyst War. Okay, part 10 and part 11. One of the best events in recent memory, in my opinion, comic book events of recent memory. Yeah. So much fun.
This is the event of the summer.
Yes. I mean, this summer and last summer at this point, but yes, I agree.
2 summers had to contain this event. That's how big the event was. We needed 2 summers. But no, I love how only with Radiant Black. Yeah, that's sick. Only with Radiant Black is issue 30 actually issue 36 or 30 or 35 or whatever. Like, it's this is quite the series. But yeah that glitchy cover, it's perfect.
Yeah. We do also have the hardcover and the audiobook. So yeah, they said that after issue 30 and 30.5, they're going on hiatus, But the good news is that we have the hardcover, year one hardcover, collecting the first 12 issues with tons of back matter. And we have the and we have the audiobook coming out, which is voiced by I forget their names, Will Friedle and the other guy from Boy Meets World. I forget his name, but you guys know.
But either way, he's playing Nathan. Now, do you think Will Friedle, like, did he know what was going to happen with Marshall when he took the role? Like, you're going to be like the bad boy now? Like, you think like, oh,
hearing these lines are,
we don't know how to go. Nathan could get killed
from Friedle. That would be sweet. Like an evil Marshall. That would be super sweet.
Anyway, last thing we wanted to mention is Supermassive 2024 #1, releasing July 24th. This is in fact the real release date. This was just on FOC yesterday, FOC being final order cutoff, so last day to pre-order. Unfortunately, that's passed now, but I'm sure if you let your comic book stores know, you'll still be able to get a copy, no problem. It's going to be $5.99 as usual, but it's going to be another square-bound book. We've got everyone working on this one: Matt Groom, Kyle Higgins, Ryan Parrott, Melissa Flores, Joe Clark, Stefanos Mione, and Becca Carey. I gotta say, we're super grateful. Thank you so much, Black Market Narrative and Kyle Higgins, Michael Basuto, everyone else. They sent us a PDF copy, which, by the way, I personally prefer, because I don't want them to send it. I don't want to be on the influencers list where they send us the physical books. Just send us the PDFs, because I want to buy the shit. I want to buy the shit and support them. I want to
like this one digitally.
Reviews, right?
It's a very vertical book, so it actually works really well vertically, I find.
Yes.
But anyways, checked it out.
Yeah, check it out. It was an amazing issue. We're not going to spoil anything. All we're going to say is it was awesome. One thing that I personally really loved is seeing Stefanos Mione just do the artwork on the whole thing, dude. Oh,
dynamic as hell.
Perfection. Oh my god, it's so good.
Those preview pages don't do it justice. I'm telling you, those preview pages, how gorgeous they are, they don't do justice how great this book looks.
Yeah,
for sure.
Again, as you expect with Team Black Market Narrative, there's a lot of surprises. So if you're someone who loves the Massiveverse, make sure you don't miss this book. It's so good. It's so good. There's a lot of great moments, and we'll just leave it there. Anyway, this is coming out July 24th. Make sure you check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
We got some patrons too who we love and keep the lights
on.
Fast.
The patrons who are actually
okay, come on, you got to admit that's actually super cool.
They're super cool. Come on, we had to give them the love from Radiant Black himself. So thank you to the patrons who we actually had a new patron who I wanted to update the text, which I told Adi. I don't know if he did or didn't, but here's the current. Let's see if we get. Let me fix this for a sec. Here's the current slate of the patrons: Noah M, Patrick, Joe J, and Jordan C. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your patronage. You help us keep the lights on and get the show going and keep it top quality. So thank you so much, guys. There is one more patron who recently joined us, and I'm so sorry we didn't get you on this episode, but we will get you on the next episode. I will say that there's one more thing that we want to mention that I haven't forgotten, because it feels like it might have been forgotten, but it's Eric Honerbrink. Eric Honerbrink is the other patron. Thank you so much for your patronage.
Shout out Eric.
Name up there. Yeah, we'll get your name up there on the next episode, and we'll keep it there moving forward. I promise. But one last thing I wanted to mention is we have a newsletter coming out soon. And some amazing members of the community, including the Radiant Black Discord. So we'll have the link to the Discord. What is the Radiant Black Discord? It's a space where people who love Radiant Black just come together and chat. We have different channels for different things. People who even talk about things that have nothing to do with like the movies, television, comic books, miscellaneous action figures. But we
also never know what you're going to see early there.
Oh yeah, you never know. I'm warning you. People like to talk about all kinds of random stuff, so it's great.
Oh, not even that, but sometimes you might get exclusive. You might see stuff before it gets on Twitter or it's out in the world.
We have the creators on there. That's where they tell us, important announcements. Michael Basuto, the editors on there. Kyle Higgins on there, just to name a few, but tons of other people. That's where we got the announcement that the Radiant Black 30 and 30.5 are most likely going to be September 18th. So if you just love Radiant Black, you love the Massiveverse, you want to talk about those things with some cool people and some fellow nerds, join the Radiant Black Discord.
You hear some tidbits, right? Like Michael Basuto was saying, Radiant Black gets surprisingly few emails in the letters column. So your likelihood of getting a letter in that book is pretty high because despite it being amazing, most people, I guess, are speechless and don't really have a lot of letters. So, your chances are pretty high. And little things like that you hear and it's really interesting. So, yeah.
That's perfect segue. So speaking of letters, we have a newsletter coming out, which I haven't forgotten about. We've just been so busy with life. The good news is that because we delayed the release of the newsletter, I put an open call a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so now. If anyone wanted to contribute artwork to be featured in the newsletter, of course, we'll credit you however you want to be. One person, the legend himself, Legion Fire from our Discord, a really cool community member and one of the most knowledgeable people in comics I've met, especially Valiant Comics. My God, this guy knows so much about Valiant Comics. It's impressive. Yeah.
Huge. This cover is really fire that he did.
Huge nerd. Yeah, he did an amazing artwork that we're going to use as the cover for the newsletter, and of course we'll credit him.
Bravo.
So I'm very excited to show that off. If you're in the Discord, you've already seen it because he was showing it off, and it's amazing. It should be showed off. But if you're not, we're going to show it to you guys, and then we're thinking, obviously, just to get more exposure to the Radiant Black and everything, like the actual comic book. We're thinking the first 2 weeks we'll keep the newsletter for patrons, and then after that we'll put it to the public. Like we'll put it on our website, we'll put it online so that people can get into the discussion, and just to get more people involved, because I feel like and just to show off the artwork that expose these cool artists to more people so that they can check them out.
And you've heard our thoughts on the Catalyst War. What do you guys think? Like, let us know below. I want to see discussions. I'm really interested in your theories and all that stuff. So tweet at us, let us know in the comments below on YouTube and stuff like that. And if you like the show, the easiest way to support us is to give us a fair, honest review on whatever platform you're on. Likes go a long way, help us in the algorithm, help Radiant Black get into more people's subscription boxes and stuff like that, or they're recommended. So check that out. And of course, Patreon is the best way to directly support us. But those other things are free and much appreciated.
Yeah, so we have Patreon and a link in our description if you want to check that out. If not, like Matt said, a review always goes a super long way. And last but not least, we do have some giveaways coming up. So we just hit 300 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much. Once we hit 400 subscribers, we're going to be giving away some cool shit. And then once we hit 500 subscribers, we're going to be giving away some cool shit, including a Radiant Black Year 1 hardcover. So we're going to get that. We're going to give that away. So I can guarantee some people are going to be excited for that. But we also have a Radiant Black Volume 4 that we want to give away, amongst other things recently.
Soft cover version.
So, the soft cover, the trade paperback. Don't get too excited, ladies and gentlemen. But soon enough, right? And then with San Diego, the last but not least, San Diego Comic-Con is this month. I believe it's the 24th of July or 25th of July, 25th of July to the 28th of July. So we're going to get tons of announcements, I think, from just everyone comic related. But I think the guys over at Black Market Narrative said that they have a few Massiveverse announcements. Already one we've seen is the return of Kyle through, I think it's Kyle 1964. So that's coming up on FOC soon. Pre-order that. And last but not least, that series got extended by 1 issue. It was 3 issues, now it's 4 issues. So more Kyle for us, more goodness.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
Great
I think that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today in this timeline. We'll see you over at the next timeline with some more reviews. Stay radiant.